All right. Hello, everyone. Today is March 12th, 2020. This is the Kubernetes SIG Storage meeting. I'm Xing. I'll be moderating the meeting today. And Sad, please chime in if I missed anything.
Of course, yep, that's good. Thank you.
And the meeting will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So let's get started. I have shared my screen here. I put the 1.18 release schedule here, just as a reminder. We just had code freeze on March 5th last week. And the next deadline is the doc deadline next Monday, March 16th. And then GA, the release date is March 24th. So let's take a look at the planning spreadsheet. The first one is Roblox. Do we have Jan here?
Roblox has reached GA. I am just waiting for documentation PR to be reviewed and merged.
Okay, just doc needed. Everything else is done. Okay, great.
Yes. Feature is GA.
Okay, great. Next one is CSI cloning TJ. Jan, you want to give me an update on this one?
John, we don't. So this is GA in Kubernetes, but there is one remaining issue in external provisioner, and somebody is working on it. And again, documentation is under review.
Thanks, Jan. And the next one is the CSI migration. Next steps, we have Deep, Chan, David here to give an update. Or someone else want to give an update on this one?
So I wanted to give a quick update about David. He ended up leaving. Last week was his last week with our team. He's gone to a fintech company, so he's probably not going to be working on Kubernetes storage. We're going to have to sync up with Xing and Deep to see what the status of this is, and
okay.
Get someone else to help out here for the next quarter.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
I think I have
Michelle.
the most context currently on the status of this.
Sure.
But from a framework point of view, I think there are no outstanding issues that need, or actually there might be one minor outstanding issue. But for the most part, the phase we're in right now is we're just trying to get all the cloud providers to start implementing and getting testing and getting to beta.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Michelle. Next one is CSI online, offline resizing issues. Herman, is Herman here? Or Ben?
I think there is no
update?
No update.
Okay. Oh, I see there was I think Herman submitted a PR in the external resizer to support CSI 1.2. I think it's just, it looks like just wait for him to update that PR. Okay, we'll get some more update from Herman on that. Okay, the next one is the support containerized CSI node plugin in Windows with storage proxy. Can anyone give an update on this one? Deep or?
This is KK.
Okay, KK.
Yeah, Azure disk changes are merged right now. So there is a few, error paths, kind of like scenarios which we are still fixing. But in general, it's working. GCPD work currently is getting tested, and we are going through that process of getting to a point where everything is working. There are a few more patches which got merged in CSI proxy, but in general, we are at a phase where things are all working. It's just up to the point where 1.18 release happens, we'll keep making debugging and other fixes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, snapshot. Okay, snapshot. So we continue to make bug fixes. So I'm still working on there's a create snapshot timeout issue that I'm still working on it, still testing and fixing. And then we are also updating the doc for the host path driver. Let's update. The next one is a non-recursive volume ownership. Do we get an update on this one?
So the feature has been merged as alpha into Kubernetes 1.18.
It's alpha, you said?
Yeah, it is alpha.
Oh, okay, great. So this one is complete then. Is it anything else left?
Yeah.
Or?
Well,
Oh,
in this release, yes, it's complete. And it's going to graduate in the subsequent releases.
okay, great.
I think the only thing outstanding is the docs for this one.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. Secure Linux recursive permission handling. Do we have an update on this one?
That's Linux. No update, sorry.
Okay.
I haven't started yet.
Okay, the next one, don't have, it's crossed out. And then file permission handling for Windows. Do you have any update from Deep? Or Michelle, you know anything about this?
Sorry, which item?
This is the file permission handling for Windows.
I think it has not started, and we
Oh,
probably
okay.
won't start this late in the phase.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to maybe KK, can you potentially bring this up in the next Windows CSI meeting?
Yes, sure. I'll get back in this meeting after that.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.
This one is CSI entry read-only handling. Do we have any update on this one? From Chris? No? No update then? CSI driver skip touch port info GA. Jan or Christian, you want to give an update? Merged?
Yes, and I think we also have the documentation this time.
Yes.
Okay, doc, okay.
Docs have already been merged.
Oh.
Kubernetes website PR is outstanding, but that's it.
Website, but that's a doc, right? Website, that's a doc. Is there another doc?
Mm.
The CSI.
Oh,
docs
CSI
have been
doc.
updated.
Need CSI. Okay, need CSI doc. All right.
Sorry, the CSI documentation has been updated and merged. The Kubernetes website release notes has not been merged yet.
Oh, okay.
Apologies.
Kubernetes website, basically. Features of merged. Great, thanks. And next one, improve metrics. I think that's done. Next one, issues related to assuming volumes or mock points. Looks like there's no one working on this. Is there an update? Michelle, do you know anything about this one?
Andy actually has a PR out to remove the check in node publish and node stage
Mm-hmm.
for if volumes are mount points.
Yeah.
We were hoping to get that into 118, but I think there were some potentially backwards compatibility concerns. So we decided for 117, we're going to add a deprecation notice to the release notes for this behavior, and then make the change in 118, or sorry, 119.
Thanks. Next one, storage pools. So this is Patrick. Is Patrick in the call? Okay. Michelle, do you know if there's any update on this one? I haven't heard anything.
No, Patrick has been mostly focusing on fixing some of the bugs in the current code base.
Okay.
But I think with respect to like revisiting the design proposal, I don't think he's taken a look at that.
Okay. Thanks. Workgroup, that's mine. So I do have a cap out, but has not got many review comments. I probably should schedule a review meeting for that to move forward. Next one, CSI outer tree move NFS driver. Michelle.
So the NFS CSI driver has actually been making a lot of good progress. There have been 2 people that have been getting the repo back up to state and testing it out. I think we should be very close to actually cutting a release for it in the next month or so.
Good.
On the iSCSI front, there was one person that was that did some initial work on it. I need to follow up with them to figure out the rest of the steps to be able to get to a release.
Okay. Thanks. Next one, fiber channel. Do you have anyone? Fiber channel.
No, both
Okay.
of these 2, we did not really get volunteers to work on it. Although
Okay.
I did see one person make some activity on the Flex repo, so I will try to follow up with them offline to see if
Okay.
it's something they're interested in working on. But at least from the fiber channel point of view, there's nobody working on this. Yeah.
Next one is deprecation of the external storage repo. Is that being started?
Yeah, I think this one is on Matt's plate, but he might not be aware of that.
Oh, okay.
So
I think he knows, but
okay.
where's the time?
There was actually someone today that expressed interest in continuing to maintain the NFS provisioner. So we should sync up. And
Huron's message saying that he wanted to make sure that this NFS provisioner was not deleted. Did somebody volunteer to pick it up?
I think he might be volunteering to help maintain it. There's a Slack thread going on right now about it.
Okay, cool.
Do we want to maintain it there, or should we move it somewhere else?
We should move it.
Yep.
So I think that's the first, like, regardless, this whole repo is getting deprecated. Right. But if there's anything in there that we want to actually continue to maintain, then we should pull it out and create a new repo for it.
Okay. Thanks.
Who owns that? Is that Saad Ali?
I'm sorry, what was that?
No,
no.
Michelle, NFS provisioner. You're asking who is owning it, who is working on it? Michelle, do you have a name?
No. So I think we need to, that's what we need to figure out. Like, if we do want to continue to maintain this, who are the people that are volunteering to be the maintainers?
Okay.
Hey, Michelle, maybe you and I can sync up after this call. This is John Terpstra at Dell.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, just send me a message on Slack.
Okay.
All right, thanks, John. Next one is Walling SnapShani transfer. Mike?
Yeah, yes, there was a bit of activity on the PR. I want to take a pass at updating the CAP proposal again. I just have one or two like high-level questions I'd like to get feedback on. I put down to talk at the end of the meeting today.
Okay.
That's cool. And then, yeah, shouldn't be too super high-level questions.
Okay, thanks. Next one is Walling House. So Nick has started doing development. He has a PR that get all the release tools set up. He's working on the controller and the agent side changes. The CSS spec that is being reviewed. I think we just have one last issue that we need to get resolved. We have a meeting later today, 10 Pacific time today to review that.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, thanks. And next one is generic data populator. Is Ben in the call? No? So so Michelle, you want to give an update on this one?
Yeah, so the feature gate work is in.
Were you guys not able to hear me?
Oh,
I was talking
okay.
into my mute. Sorry, I
okay.
failed to turn mute off. Yeah, this feature is merged. The docs are done. Michelle has reviewed them, and I don't know what it's going to take to get the docs completely merged. Michelle, do we need a second reviewer or someone special to?
I think Doc's team will get around to it.
Okay. Yeah. So what we decided to do was to not, because the feature is basically experimental, not to provide a lot of detail in the end user docs and just to basically mention the feature gate and explain what it does, but not explain how to use it, because we don't really want end users trying to use this feature until we have actual data populators to do things with.
Mm.
So very minimal docs.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then you are still working on the POC populator?
Yes. Yes. Well, we need a design that addresses the known shortcomings of this approach. And that's on me.
Okay.
For 119.
Thanks. Next one is the object storage API. You have Jeff or John?
Hi, John here.
Hi.
We had the second review of the CAP yesterday. Jeff and I are making updates in the background on a working branch that we'll push up today. I posted a recording of the first meeting to the SIG Storage Google group, and I've got the second recording uploading right now. I've also sent out an invite for next week for the third meeting.
Thanks.
Yep.
And the next one, the one expansion for stateful set. CGAPs need to find an owner. I don't know if we have an owner yet. Does anyone know? KK, do you know anything about this one?
Yeah, so I think the update from the last meeting has sort of disappeared. The thing is, SIGAPS has shown interest in reviewing it. Somebody needs to own it and proceed. The idea was that after 1.18 code freeze, I'll have a look at it and try to revive the KEP. I'll volunteer.
So you will be working
Yeah.
on that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll volunteer. If right now I don't see anybody volunteering for it, so I'll
1.19 basically. Okay.
Yep.
All right, great, thanks. Okay, next one. Address issues PVC created by C4 side will not be auto-removed. Is Dale in the call today? I was just checking with him the other day. He said he's still interested in working on this, so he's still looking at putting together a CAP. So. And next one, execution hook. So this one, we did review it in the data protection group meeting, in the last data protection group meeting. So I updated the new design based on the feedback. I think we need to check with the API reviewer just to make sure that this new approach, adding this hook in the container is the one that they wanted, because in addition to adding this to the container, we also added a new API object entry, which is usually difficult. So we'll need to ask them if this is the way they want to go, because if we don't do that, then there's no way to tell Kubernetes when to run this hook. There is another alternative, which is kind of like a hybrid approach, which is not introduce a entry API object, but just adding that using the handler, adding that in the container. But then we need to trigger that call from an external controller. So either way, there's pros and cons, whichever we choose to do. So I think we need to get some guidance from the API reviewers on this one. I think that's all we have in this spreadsheet. Okay, Mike, you have this item here. You want to pick up this?
Sure. So basically, for those that haven't looked at this yet, there's this namespace transfer API, high level. There is a transfer request object that is made in the target namespace, and a transfer approval object that is in the source. The way things are currently in the KEP, once a controller kind of matches a request with approval, it will begin the process of updating the PV, creating the new PVC, deleting the old PVC. John Griffith is suggesting leveraging the the data source field, and using the namespace transfer request as the kind there, so that basically the user would do the request for approval thing, and then in addition to that, create a PVC with the data source set. The main reason I didn't do that in the first place was just because not all provisioners supported the data source, but obviously that's probably maybe just a temporary concern. I totally get that it could fit. So I guess what I'm wondering is what people think about leveraging the data source field for this feature.
So making a third data source, like in addition to Snapshot and the PVC, this transfer request would be another one. Is it?
You do the transfer request and the approval, and then when you create, the user would create the target PVC with the data source field, and the kind would be the request, and then the controller would see that and update the PV, do the basically update the PV and delete the source PVC.
And part of that is because keep in mind that, you know, Ben's PR to remove the restrictions on data source is going through. So there won't be just 3 things that you can do anymore. It'll be
right. Sure.
It just from a workflow perspective, I thought it would be a good consistent workflow in terms of creating volumes from other things to follow that same pattern. But if I'm the only one who feels that way, I definitely wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't hold this up.
No, it totally makes sense to me. It's just, another thing that I think we mentioned in the PR was that you can get the user can get feedback on like a quota violation right away. Otherwise, it will happen kind of in the background.
Exactly.
I think, it's basically, do we want the user to create the PVC? I think it's just, the user has to do one more thing. And I think the new PVC that they create also kind of, I don't know, the spec has to match the source. So I wonder, we have to deal with that somehow. The spec of the target PVC would have to match the spec of the source.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I was actually thinking that, I guess it might not be that easy. I was actually thinking you could just implicitly use that, but I guess since the object is going to be, you're not going to be able to update that object, so that could be a problem. Huh. So much for that idea.
And this will be handled by a new controller or the provisioner, the external provisioner, which will
I'm envisioning a new controller, like similar to, I guess, maybe like the common Snapshot controller.
Oh, okay. This is only handle the PVC's transfer, right? Not snapshots, right? Or is it also for snapshots?
Yeah, it could. The API is for any storage related stuff, so it could be for snapshots, or I think it could be. The API should support snapshots as well.
Okay.
I haven't tested out actually the implementation of that yet, but I assume it's similar.
Yeah, it's probably similar.
Yeah, I'd be curious to get thoughts from Michelle and Saad and others.
It might be worth can we summarize this in an issue somewhere, and maybe we can have a meeting to discuss this?
Okay. Sure. What is most convenient, like a GitHub issue or just a Google Doc? I can send that to the group.
Michelle, what kind of issue were you envisioning?
Maybe a GitHub issue. I think not everyone may have, I mean, I don't have, well, I guess it's easier to comment on stuff in Google Docs.
Is there an enhancement issue already open?
Yeah, this probably already have an enhancement issue.
This is the only thing that I've done for this so far.
Oh, but I mean, here we usually should have something, right? Well, maybe this one hasn't got to that stage yet. Name transfer. Is this an issue? 643.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pool. I don't know if that's issue or it's the cap itself. Maybe it's a cap. Oh, that's the John's cap. Not. You probably don't have an issue yet.
Probably create an enhancement issue. But yeah, I agree with Michelle. Let's have a meeting to kind of go through this design and figure out what the next steps are.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mike, John. Okay. Do we have any other issues to talk today?
This is KK here. I had one question really. So as part of 1.18 release, when we are planning to do CSI proxy binaries themselves getting released, what's the general process? We have seen documentation on sidecar releases and stuff from CSI, but a binary release, what's the process, and is there something similar to that, that we have done in the past?
Michelle, do you
Sorry,
know
you're
this
asking about releasing the CSI proxy?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think Xing actually asked me about that too, and I sent her a link under CSI release tools. There's a page there called sidecar release process.
Yep.
And it documents like all of the steps that we usually need to do to prepare and then actually make a release.
Okay, so so we should go with equivalent sidecar kind of release, even though it's like a binary release.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So some things aren't going to apply because this is a binary and not a container. And I don't. Are we actually hosting any binaries anywhere, or is this just like a code release?
So individual cloud providers will have to host the binaries no matter what. We could think about GitHub itself having a release which has binaries, but that's one part of the process which I wanted to clarify whether we want to.
Yeah, so I think for now, because in general, just building like Windows binaries and containers is not a really well supported thing in Kubernetes. We'll probably just have to do a code release for now, but longer term, we should work with the Kubernetes what is it called? The infra work group to figure out how to solve this.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you. Are there other issues to discuss? If not, that is for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.